video I sent you.
No, I'm sorry.
All right. So
I feel better. I'll trust you that it makes me feel better.
So I'm live, guys. It's me, Court. All right. I'm here with Jason.
Hello, hello, hello.
And Common Sense News and Entertainment.
That's right. And we're going live on Facebook as well here in just a couple of seconds.
His plans are so big, he's going to be broadcast on Mars someday.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And good evening, everybody. It's Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Another edition of Common Sense News and Entertainment. And I got the label, everybody. Whoop, 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 whoop. And here we are with Yankee T News and Court Bratnowski once again.
Yeah.
For our soon-to-be... Do you want to be Sean Hannity for our news network, or do you want to be Jesse Waters? Right now, Jesse Waters is younger but dumber.
Younger but dumber.
Hannity is older and wiser. We probably go with Hannity, right?
I am my own brand here.
You're your own brand. That's right. That's right. Of course. Yeah. Of course. But except the time slot, though.
All right. So the big thing that I would have wanted you to hear on the video that I sent you, was that what's going on in the HORMUZ Strait is a little bit more complicated than you think, and America's doing a little bit better than you might think. But let me give you an example of how the Iranian government can do things that are, quite frankly, stupid. All right. So what did they, so they started out by wanting to charge a toll for each ship. It's like $2 million per shipment, right? Then they backed off of that. They tried to come up with this other plan. They wanted to cut a deal with Oman. Trump squashed that like a bug. Squashed them like a bug.
Yeah, I heard that.
And now the latest is they've turned around and created what is called the Persian Gulf Shipping Authority. I think that PGSA, that sounds about right. Okay, so now in other words, they're going to charge fees for shipping on the basis of environmental concerns and other nonsense, right? Rather than just a straight up toll. One problem. No sooner did they create this organization than our Treasury Secretary turned around and announced sanctions against that so-called authority. They're having trouble getting a little traction there, you might say.
Okay, is that Oman and Iran working together, or is there...
No. This Persian Gulf Shipping Authority is just another effort by Iran to justify charging money to whatever ships they're trying to get out. Now, remember, the American blockade is still working.
Yeah.
I hate to break the news to all you Iran lovers out there. And then on top of that, it seems like the naval port there, Bandar Abbas, is becoming more and more of a battle scene, because we had this other report of 3 attacks by Americans following an attempt by the Iranians there to send out 3 drones to attack us. All got shot down, and then a 4th. And that got shot down. By that time, the Americans had homed in on the location of the launcher and destroyed it. All right, let me go back to one of my original thoughts on this subject, okay? And that is, all right, so we've got this shifting picture about just how much the Iranian military has in the way of resources to attack us. Okay, you had, originally talking about a big number. We really 13,000 strikes, degraded huge amounts of their drone capacities. We shut off these tunnels. We destroyed missile launchers as well as ballistic missiles, and you name it. And so now it looked like, wow, we really good job, guys. It looks like we got them on their knees. Nope, not quite. They kept attacking, although at a lower level, as you recall. But now the question began to come, well, what have they really got left? All right. Mm-hmm. And so you remember we talked about how they probably are sort of like trying to conserve their ammunition. We could talk about American munitions may be low, but I'd say theirs pretty low too.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this in spite of the fact that we have all those reports about how Russia and China are, quote, rushing to resupply the Iranian military. Well, what can you do if you're trying to resupply munitions that are already low, all right? So they're not quite as low. Might be one way to think about it. So again, if I'm going to try, so then I want to remind you, there was also the attack on Kuwait. Did you hear about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
We had the attack in Kuwait, the attempt to hit the ships, American ships. I don't know if there are any notable attacks, but the point is that they had. You just get the sense that they're trying to be strategic with what attacks they're making. Now, I mean, frankly, in my opinion, for example, being an ex-Navy guy, if you had 10 or 15 ships that could do mine laying, I'm going to find a way to get them out there. They're going to be out there one way or another all the time. And by the way, over this time, there's another thing to think about. Maybe they still have some of their submarines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Submarines can be used to lay mines.
Sure.
All right. That'll screw things up pretty good. That said, we haven't heard of any mines going off. So I'm going to give the edge to the American Navy and their efforts to clear the mines versus whatever efforts the Iranians have been able to mount to keep laying more mines. I believe they're still doing it as best they can.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm talking this through, the net effect is they can still fight. The Iranian Navy can still fight, but it's getting weaker. I just think it's getting weaker. This is my opinion. Now, I say this because you, my buddy, were a little down last night on America's efforts in Iran, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I'm still concerned, but I do feel better. I mean, I feel like that.
Okay, so
at the end of the day, I know that we're
okay. One of the things to keep in mind
top,
here, one of the things.
Regime change is the only way, I guess. As long as that's not happening, I'm not going to feel better.
The Tausi TV video that I sent you, all right, which is again one of the latest. He's on top of it. He's on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting there receiving information, quote, on the ground in Tehran and Iran. Okay, he's listening to all the American media. He's listening to all these other things, and his message is very clear. From where he sits, you, and to a lesser extent me, are just being jerked around still by the American liberal media. Mm-hmm. Still, all right? They're working overtime to make us think that America's losing the war.
That's true.
Well, but that's not how you're acting last night.
Well, again, it's unless it's a complete ruse going on with Trump. There's still look at the end of the day. Even if we weaken them to the point where they want to make a deal, and then we make a deal with them under the even if it's under our terms,
well,
I still don't think that's good enough.
All right, let me try to put some numbers on this. Okay, I pulled up here. I'm going to put up this one. Here we go. Okay. All right, so this one is of the Iranian economy, or it's one. There's an infographic I have to show you too. Okay, so if you can see this, notice how you got the dip, which was in 2008, and then the latest is an estimate for 2026. Let's see here, 2021 was 300 something and change. But the argument here is, before we got into this conflict, they were managing to grow their economy. And in fact, as you look at the chart, this is the best track record they've had in growing their economy for some time. Mm-hmm. Doesn't it look like that?
It does.
Okay. All right. So the issue is here, 470 billion is their estimated GDP for 2026. Right? So what's
that number's going down since March?
Yes. All right. Well, we can estimate how much it's gone down. And all right, no surprise, not much. All right, maybe I didn't do this right. All right, the first calculation I did was on the basis on a per day estimate, but that may be wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay, but the per day estimate was simply that with each ship that does not manage to get to its port of call, so to speak, that's $350 million less for the Iranian economy. Okay. It is my understanding that the American Navy has turned back well over 100. The number keeps changing. They keep trying. We keep stopping them, sending them back, whatever it happens to be. So
it comes out to 300 billion. That comes out 300. I mean, that comes out to
it's
30 billion.
30 billion. Okay, let me refer you back to the GDP figure. All right, 470. Subtract 30 from that.
Okay, that's about 6% of their economy.
in just a short period of time.
Okay.
All right.
In 3
That's
months.
almost like, I mean, it's tempting to say then that if these numbers have any validity at all, they're beginning to be stalled out economically, which is not a surprise. Okay, the bad joke, of course, there are the stories that the food rations for their military is down to 2 potatoes a day and some cucumber mush or something they give them. And, yeah,
cucumber mush, huh?
Something like that, pickle mush. I don't know. It's weird. It's Iranian. So all right, this is going to keep going down. I mean, so the point is, remember I talked about, so all of this looks to me more like what we talked about last night, the nibble strategy, okay? Right?
As long as it results in the end of the regime and the end of the 47-year war, not the 4-month one.
Okay, and I'm going to say timing is everything, okay? The notion is that, in a sense, we're acting like a boa constrictor here, all right? Slowly choking them. Each day it's a little harder to breathe, a little harder to get things done. All right. And by the way, let's go back to this stuff with Carg Island. So again, the guy on Tausi TV pointed out that the situation on Carg Island is getting worse. Remember, we talked about what was it? I forget. Something like 80,000 gallons of oil that's been spilled in the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
The number would be bigger now. Okay. And but and part of the problem is, I think, just to throw in another story here, got to give them credit for trying. So I think it would have been in early March, perhaps mid-March. So what the Iranian government decided to do is start running trucks, oil tanker trucks, across Iran over to Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, the problem is that it became so plugged up. It's like a traffic jam. I was in the middle of this roadwork traffic jam today, sitting there waiting. Well,
you do that too, huh?
Yes. Okay. So
common occurrence in Connecticut these days.
Well, guess what? It was happening on the road to Pakistan too. All right. We all have something in common. And so, but it didn't work. So they just stopped doing it. Okay. In the meantime, they're still trying to keep pumping, but they have no place. They're running. They keep saying they're running out of, but they've been saying they've been running out of it now for several weeks now. At some point, they are going to run out, and there's going to be a problem, a real problem. Anyway, so so this
at some point better come soon.
Okay, but again, boa constrictor strategy. You're seeing that bit by bit. I mean, if I could draw on this, and I can't, but if we wanted to go for that first dot to the left there, okay.
Seems like that'll take it
somewhere. If we dotted this out and where the economy is now, it's probably down to where it was in 2024 in terms of numbers. But that's just in terms of projection. Okay, but I'm just trying to show.
Based on that though, to get it down to where it was in 2020, even you're looking at another year.
Big dump. Okay. So let's try it
around then. So this, I don't like this. This does not make me feel better.
Well, okay.
This particular thing.
Then I'm going to say it's for context. How's that sound?
Okay.
Context. So the notion is that there is a rate of decline. The currency is worthless, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are getting laid off, and more we're going to find that they're not able to pay their military members. So what are they going to? All right, there you go. Hey. Okay. Oh wait, when's your birthday again?
When's my? I'm not going to say my birthday on the air. It's in June though. It's in June.
Soon.
Soon in June.
Soon in June. All right. Well, I know what I'm going to get you for a present then.
Okay.
Yeah. So just saying. Okay. So let's take this off here now. And let me just bring up, I think where are you? Remove that? Yes. Okay.
We have to consider all that. We have to also consider when it comes to an economy, the Iranian government does not look at an economy like we do. We look at it when our economy slips, we think there's consequences.
Okay.
To the people, and we care for that. These guys don't care about the people. They can suffer over and over. They don't care.
All right. At the risk of pissing off my audience, I'm going to suggest that there is some very rough similarities here between what's going on with Iran and the American Revolutionary War. The reason I'm drawing this comparison is because as much as we detest the mullahs, okay, they have a fiery commitment to their beliefs, not unlike our fiery commitment that we had to liberty.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes? What?
I don't like the comparison.
Why?
I just don't like it. I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because
that's like saying, well, the devil is committed to watch you burn in hell, but versus, it's like I don't see the same thing. I don't see it the same.
All right, I'm going to push this a little bit further by asking the question: to how much suffering on its own merits, how much suffering will the Iranian people, the Iranian military endure for what they believe in? How much will
we're going to find out over the next few months, I think.
Okay, I think the answer is you're going to find out that it's more than just a few months. All right.
You're supposed to be making me feel better. You're not making me feel better.
I think you have to make a realistic assessment of the enemy.
And listen, the Iran mullahs are a sick, psychopathic religious cult. That's not the same as liberty.
Look, you can say that, yes, fine. But the bottom line is their willingness to fight. All right? Sick or not, if they're determined to continue to eat 2 potatoes a day and still fight, okay, now you're dealing with an enemy that, you're going to have to think a little more carefully about
what. No, but we don't know to what extent they're willing to eat 2 potatoes to fight. And we also happen to know that our own American Revolutionary soldiers were not all willing to eat 2 potatoes and fight. Many of them left and deserted the army.
Yes.
In fact, more than half of them did.
And that's happening here in Iran as well, on a smaller scale, I might add, but it's happening.
Sure, because when you're starving, you change your ideology pretty quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Most do.
Yeah. Well, I think in the American Revolution case, it was as much about the fact that these guys were farmers and they had to think about the next planting season. So it wasn't so much that they would have lost faith in the cause as it was they had their practical issues to deal with here.
Or they were losing their toes to frostbite, things like that.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. And who knows what other problems they're having, because with starvation, with this kind of deprivation, they too are going to have health problems of various kinds. So the other layer of this problem here are these mercenaries that they've hired. As our man on Tausi TV pointed out, it's getting to the point where the Iranian government can't pay them either. And you can rest assured when they can't pay those mercenaries, they're out of there. There's no reason for them to stay.
Mm-hmm.
They're mercenaries.
That's what they do.
Okay.
Professional bullies.
Right. So this comes. So, it's funny. All right. So I was talking about the nibbling strategy, and we have here maintaining this pressure. So what has happened? All right. This is what I'm seeing happening now, sort of. It's almost, I'm willing, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a, quote, top secret report somewhere that basically was talking in the following manner. What will happen to the enemy if we do 2 things? The first is if we constrict their economy, okay, which is what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd agree the economy is shrinking, not growing?
I would agree, yes.
Okay. And slowly but surely, gradually step up attacks on them. Okay? So
military attacks.
Right, yes. So you have these articles in the press who are starting to make fun of the idea that we have a ceasefire because the number of attacks are growing and we have these negotiations going on at the same time. The same crap that's been going on in Ukraine and Russia. I just, in my mind, if you're negotiating something, stop with the fighting, but no, that's wrong. That is so wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I've been complaining about it for a month.
All right. So given that this is the reality, now 3 attacks on bases or something that were near Bandar Abbas. Okay. That happened. Okay. There have been attacks in and around Tehran. Okay. And earlier there were the other attacks several days ago in the other cities, and so there's just a sense that they're and again they're being attacked from different directions. We're doing okay, so it's like we're specializing and focusing on what's going on with the Hormuz Strait. The Israelis are dealing with the northwest area, right? And then whatever's going on with the with Mossad and these immortal guards, they're in key places in different cities, causing what trouble they can. All right. So for the Iranian government, such as it is, it's a rising tide of conflict all around, but it's still rising slowly, and it's getting harder and harder for them to deal with on a day-to-day basis because they're getting fewer and fewer resources. All right. So the other point, though, they are still the IRGC and others are still brutal, still well armed, still threatening the people, and so there's no real basis yet for quote the people to come out in any significant way.
Even though they did last year,
right? No, so I mean, because all right, so here's the weird part, okay? With all this going on, you know that they shut down the internet, right?
Yes, I do.
You know they've now restored the internet.
But I thought we had Starlink going on to help get around that.
No, the Iranian government had to, open up the gates, so to speak, for the internet.
For the what?
For the
they had to open up the internet.
Yes.
So it's back on in Iran.
Right. I don't know if it's on a limited basis from the way they're talking, but they make the point that whatever capabilities the Iranian government has, they're doing what they can to surveil the use of the internet. Nonetheless, this guy Tausi TV, and he's no friend of the Iranian government, manages to still get his shows into Iran. All right. So that is going to cause a shift here at some point. I'm not quite sure what form that's going to take, but it's just going to be one more thing that gnaws away at what little public support the Iranian government has. So they kind of had to sign their own death warrant by allowing the internet to come back. And I think there was a sense that it was becoming almost a fool's errand.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for.
Okay, because one of the things was you had people were driving into Iraq to access the internet so that they could then tell their friends and relatives what was going on. Okay, so it's crazy stuff like that just shows that shutting down the internet, it's not going to work that well. So anyway, let's just take another look at this here, this infograph. I think is interesting. Part I find interesting is that over here, the median income. Median income is $10,000. Yeah, that's almost a tenth of what it is in America. So a lot of people live in poverty to begin with. That's what that says to me.
That's what happens when you have an oppressive, evil regime running over your country. And
then the other part is I would draw your attention over here to this balance of trade part. And it shows that it is an import economy. Okay, they have to import more than they export, which is kind of weird considering that there's so much oil they ship.
That's how we were under Biden.
Yeah, and the other part that's weird about that to me, I always like to turn to this because I find it amazing. Are you aware? I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. Are you aware that the Iranian economy, the car manufacturers rate number 18 in the world?
For sales in Asia, probably.
Well, yeah, no, they make, I think they turn out something like 1.5 million cars a year, their own cars.
Huh.
It's like, I don't know how good
they call their cars, the Iranian bomber.
But they have a market for them.
The Mitsubishi bomber from Iran.
No, it's not it's the Allahu Akbar model. Yes. All right. So, so you look at that because, having a car manufacturing business is not a trivial matter. Okay. The engineering challenges, your ability to maintain that, the resources you need to feed the system, all those things have to be working consistently. That the Iranians have been able to do that, I give them a couple of points, and it says to me that there's a level at which they've got, quote, technical chops. Okay, so that's in the back of my mind. Is you look at the economy here and you say, well, they import more than they export, but they've got these capabilities. I don't know. There's something wrong with the picture somehow. I don't know. So
well, they're making the cars for probably a lot of the cars are for their own use.
Okay, here's another thing. All right. You ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm buckled up.
You see that big house there in the lower right?
I see it. Looks like the White House.
All right. So before I get to that, I just want to let you know that it was just announced today that the level of debt in the American economy for the federal government has risen to the point to where now 19% of our federal budget goes to paying debt. 19%, which is pretty bad. But I want to remind the audience that if you look at in other words, 19 cents of every federal dollar goes to paying debt. Historically, I need to emphasize this, it's been about 12 to 15 cents on the dollar in which we were paying for debt servicing. So $19 is worse, but ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. It could be even worse. In fact, I'm going to make a note to myself. I'm going to want to do some homework on debt loads in different countries because they said now that America is 120% of the GDP in terms of its debt, but Japan is like double that. Mm-hmm. They still have an economy. They're still growing economically, but they're carrying a huge debt. Not smart, but they find they're forced to do that, and they get into a death spiral with this because part of what drives them into debt is that they have to, quote, defend the yen against the dollar. All right, so let me go back here. So over here, if you look down at the bottom there, all right, so the top is external debt.
All right,
what?
Is it safe to say that the debt the situation that our debt is in now, although it's gotten a little bit worse, should get better over the next, if we continue on the economic trend that we've been going with all this foreign investment?
Or I think
things should get better.
Okay, and I know that there has to be a shift, a cultural shift in Washington, D.C., before we can even entertain the idea of cutting spending. Because the other problem is, I want to remind everybody in my adorable audience that how do I want to put this?
Julius Caesar once said,
yes,
that the death of a representative republic is that the people figure out how to vote themselves money out of the treasury.
Okay, well, that's been going on for a long time.
Right, well, that's the beginning of the end.
Part of why we're going through what we're going through.
That's right.
All right. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make here, which we're reminded about, two things. As far as in terms of resolving the nation's economic problems, deflation is worse than inflation. Second point is that deflation is worse than inflation for the person who holds the most debt. And who holds the most debt? That's right, the federal government.
Well, it's because the deflation means it's a recession. It's a lack of economic growth. So.
Well, what happens is with deflation, I have to check this part, but the net effect is that they're going to have to pay out more to satisfy debt under deflationary conditions than under inflationary conditions. In other words, as the money is inflated, okay, so you're paying off the debt with inflated dollars. So that means you're in a sense able to pay it off faster with inflated dollars. Deflated dollars, you're not doing as well. Mm-hmm. So that is an underlying force pushing the economy, and it's not good. But we've said this time and time again. You can't go on like that. All right. 1.51% of the GDP is their external debt. And that would be like 1.5 cents on the dollar.
What, debt to our foreign countries, you mean, versus
right, external
our
debt.
Own people?
Okay. But let's see, what is it? Debt to foreign countries. Here, well, let's do the quick research here. I'm sure we can get the number.
External debt, isn't that what that means?
What is America?
Clicking away. Here we go. Common Sense Entertainment.
See if we got a number quickly.
See, Sam's watching. Hey, Sam, welcome.
You've got to be kidding me. Okay, the external debt of 2023 is $31 trillion. So most of our debt is external debt. That's sick.
What's our debt now? That 2023 is 31 trillion.
All right, so it said as of 2023 it was 31 trillion. We know now that it's like what, 38, 39 trillion? Okay, but that's debt owed. It's mostly debt owed to other countries. And so the only saving grace here is to try and spread it out to as many different countries as possible. You know, and you know, the other part is, what is it? America still has, it's not quite a AAA credit rating. It's just one, though it was a big deal a year or two ago, or 2 years ago. And America's credit rating went down one little notch, like from AAA to A minus. And of course, the problem is, as the credit rating goes down, it costs more to borrow money. But now, I was talking the other night about what was it? Come on. Oh, yes, the bond market blowing up, but globally. Okay, so it started with this whole talk about how China and Japan have been selling a lot of U.S. treasuries. My first reaction was to say, well, look, they do this periodically to rebalance their portfolios. But the suggestion was that they were doing it because their reading of the global economic tea leaves shows that America is going to get in economic trouble. And so what we're going to be confronted with is, if we're going to continue in the kind of borrowing that we're going to continue, we're going to have to pay more for it. We have to pay for it at higher interest rates. Well, that's not good.
Ooh.
Okay. And so what fed this message also, I mean, Taiwan and some other countries were also beginning to sell more of our treasury bonds. So, you know, there just might be a problem. The question is, how much of this is linked to what's going on with the war with Iran? Okay. And, you know, let's go back to the ugly stuff. That's right. Let's go back to the ugly stuff. Buy gold. I did put it up there. Buy gold. And you're not a Knicks fan, are you?
No.
No? You're okay. So you're a Celtics fan.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not a big NBA fan. I call it the NBA show.
Okay. You remember Red Auerbach?
I'm okay with it. Yeah, I remember Red Auerbach.
Yeah, okay. He was the man for his time. But you know, he once commented, though, as he's sitting there watching the young players come up, he said, they're different. Their whole attitude is different. He almost said it with a sense of despair about whether or not he'd be able to coach these guys. Yeah. So that was that. All right. So I did put gold up as a point of discussion here. And we know, let's see, how should I, all right, where do I want to go with this? All right. I'll start with a conjecture. My conjecture is that, yes, the military pressure on Iran will continue to grow. Would you agree with that, Jason?
Yes, I hope so.
All right. And this is in spite of yet another report about how America still has low munitions. It's going to be a matter of having to adapt. I mean, if you can't use one type of munition,
how can we still have low munitions 3 months later? Are we that inept?
No, it's not. No, part of the problem is that the American military. See, here's the thing.
So we made this strategy where we blew 13,000 bombs over Iran, knowing we were low on munitions, and we did it anyway.
Yeah, because the belief was that
we thought we could win during that time frame. That's why.
Exactly, and we were wrong. Sorry.
Once again, Iran, the world superpower.
It's not a question of superpower. It's a question of understanding the enemy. Okay, and guess what? We don't understand the enemy. All right. If you cannot put yourself in their
shoes. How come I understand them? How come I understand them and our whole U.S. government doesn't seem to understand them? Explain that. I understand it very well.
I don't have the only answer I'm going to give you.
Just a little nobody, puny little dude from Connecticut, a little gumshoe, has no idea. Knows exactly what the Iranian government is all about and what it takes to defeat them. But yet our entire Central Command and the president don't seem to understand.
Right.
So I don't buy this. We don't. This notion that we don't understand them. No, we're just. I still think.
Oh boy.
I still think they have something holding. They're holding something over our heads.
Somebody's on your case, Jason.
Okay. I'm listening.
DJ Ricky is saying, Jesus, Jason, stop with the carpet bombing crap.
I don't care if we carpet bomb them. What I'm saying is this notion that we don't understand them is bull.
Well, I think I think there's an element of truth to it, because the
how come I understand them and they don't then?
All right. The way I would want to characterize this is that we do not have a well-developed sense in our minds, strategically, militarily, what gets them to surrender. And I think we're slowly realizing there's only one thing that's going to get them to surrender, and that's death.
Hey, DJ, carpet bombing.
Leave them alone. All right. Look, DJ Ricky is a peace-loving kind of guy. All right.
I like peace too, but these guys aren't interested in peace.
Yeah. So, all right, we're kind of going round and round here.
Shift gears here in a minute. Talk a little something about election integrity.
All right, we can do this.
We had a guest on our Connecticut Common Sense podcast with Slim Rifkin earlier today.
Yes.
A guy by the name of Mark Cook.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep.
So Mark is going to be the guest of honor this Saturday, right?
That's right.
In Hebron. Yep.
Now, this guy,
I'm going to try and get there.
He's a young guy, and he's from Colorado, and he was a little wet behind the ears about election integrity.
Yeah.
And he found out some things that shocked him. He's a computer expert, so he literally left his friends and family behind and holed himself up in a secret hotel room somewhere.
Yes.
With a bunch of computers, and being a computer genius that he is, he spent weeks, I believe, coming up with basically proof of the type of widespread election fraud that goes on. He breaks it down to pre-county, at county, and post-county, meaning each voting jurisdiction. Meaning for us it's towns in Connecticut. We go by town, but
all right. So this is an analysis he did for Connecticut,
for the whole country.
For the whole country.
The whole country. So he analyzes election fraud pre-county, which he calls it, in county, and post-county. So in other words, before the votes are cast, while the votes are at the county, and then afterward. And the irony of it is,
how do you collect information like that? I mean, to me,
that's how he breaks down the different ways that voter fraud is committed.
All right. Well, now,
and he is a computer genius. And the irony of it is, his theme is, here's the irony of it.
Yeah.
As a computer maven and genius who absolutely loves computers, his diagnosis is, his remedy is, you cannot use computers in elections. You cannot.
Yeah, we're on the same page. That's to me, that's obvious.
Yeah, but he's been able to uncover a lot of evidence, and it's not. You know what, Court? It's obvious to you and me, but it's not obvious to a lot of election officials and a lot of politicians.
Okay.
Which makes it.
Oh my God! Yes.
What? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
TinaPeters.us. Hold the phone, Susan. Hold the phone, Susan. All you guys out there, stay right there. Don't go.
Okay.
Hold on. This is gonna blow your mind. I can assure you of that.
Break to the enemy right here live on Common Sense News and Entertainment.
Okay, here we go. All right. You've got to go to this website. All right. You've got to. And yes. So I wasn't sure. You were saying that it's the same Mark Cook.
I'll tell you right now.
Who's on that website? Oh, okay. Here you go. All right. You can. I can't even tell if we can see it. Come on. I've got this stupid. Oh, I don't want to do this. Is going to be so embarrassing. Hold on. I'm gonna have to do it this way.
That's not gonna work. I can't see right through it.
All right, so I'm gonna try it this way.
Take down the Iran chart and then do it.
I can't do that. I have to turn this into a PDF file.
No, just take down the Iran thing and then hold it up to the screen again.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. Right. Come on. Where'd you go?
You're experiencing technical difficulties on Common Sense Entertainment. Please stand by.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's see if I can get this. There we go. Okay, can you see it now? Yes?
Yes, we see it. Tina Peters.
Okay,
.us.
tinapeters.us. Okay. When you go to the home page, look at the tabs at the top. Okay. There'll be one. Let me get this right here. Give me a minute. I'm bouncing all over the place here.
So Mark Cook knows a guy, knows Brandon. What's the name of the guy that founded Walkaway Movement?
All right. What you want to do is look for the tab at the top that says Truth Matters Show. If you scroll down to several videos, you're going to find Mark Cook, who we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy.
That's the
guy. Okay.
Yes.
Two videos where he explained this stuff. And so what's really wild about his analysis, which helps to explain his approach, all right, because you're saying pre, during, and post, and I'm not getting it. But when you watch this video, it kind of makes sense. But I still have to ask the question, how do you get time-dependent data on voting? This I don't understand. So in other words, you can collect those votes that happen between 1 and 2 o'clock. And then somehow you get the one between 2 and 3 o'clock. Now you get the one between 3 and 4 o'clock, which is what he did. And then you're comparing what happened in each of those time segments. And what he finds is positively shocking. Mm-hmm. This is nothing new. No.
This guy's breaking it down into algorithms, like it's actual proof. Well, so look, here's what you should do. Tonight, I'm going to post here on Facebook our interview with him earlier today. That's Stan and I did. If you want to watch it now, go onto our YouTube channel, Common Sense News Entertainment. You'll see it there.
What?
And take a look for yourself. It's a 1-hour interview. And I'm sure there's clips too. So we'll have to, and I'll get that posted here on Facebook tonight. Right.
Okay. So all of a sudden, I would love to be able to get DJ Ricky on this. He's saying some pretty outrageous things here. Says 10 years ago, we hacked this stuff. Are you talking about being able to get the votes within a certain time period? 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3. Are you saying that? I hadn't heard this before.
I've never heard that either.
All right. I'll admit I'm a dummy. Okay. If that is what happened, because I can tell you before I listened to Mark Cook, and believe me, I've studied election fraud to a fairly well, I had never heard this.
Well, let me just point out that Mark Cook also is the guy that founded Turning Walkaway Movement. Brandon?
No, that's Brandon Strock.
Brandon Strock is good friends with Mark Cook.
What?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
He's reaching out to him on my behalf.
Holy shamawatsis.
Yeah. To get real connections in Connecticut.
Oh, this is blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh, man. This is going to be awesome.
Matter of fact, he tried to call me right before I went on the. Okay, Mark tried to call me back. He told me that Brandon had some questions. He had some questions for me, and he called me right before I got on the air with you. So I should have called him back, but I'll call him back.
Okay. And by the way, I told you I was able to relocate the Facebook address for the Walkaway Connecticut chapter.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right. So it's out there. It's out there, and it's being. See, I did a huge study on how we can change any vote. Yeah. That's a different, and I agree. Yeah. Okay, but this stuff.
What I told Mark was that the one question we had.
Kettle of fish.
The one question I have for the walkaway for Brandon, basically.
Yeah.
The main question is, for me, is where does it start? And
where does what start?
How do you recruit, and where does it start? Do the people come to you?
Wait, just recruiting people in general?
Getting people started on the process of walking away. Yeah. How does that happen? Do you go to the places and advertise it? They come to you?
I can answer that question for you. All right. Because I did it. You have to print out the stories of the Democrats who said, I've had it, I'm out. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you go to the main, I think it's walkawayfoundation.org or something. You go to that website, you're going to find lots of testimonials. All right. So I picked what I thought were the 4 or 5 best testimonials of Democrats who said, I'm done, I'm out. And printed them out. And then when I was walking around the hood, I had my walking list and said, oh, look at that. That address, the person has a D next to the name. I think I'm going to pay them a visit. And so, knock, knock, here you go. By the way, ma'am, have you ever heard of the walkaway movement? And yes, a lot of Democrats have not heard of the walkaway movement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so believe it or not, a simple piece of paper can rock their world. Now, what was your question?
Where does it start? What
Okay, what did I
does it
just
start
tell
at the
you?
dinner tables with people?
No, what did I just tell you?
Well, you answered the question, but then you asked me what the question was again, so I had to tell you again.
Because I'm trying to tell you I answered the question.
You have answered it.
Okay.
That's probably one way, right? There's other ways besides that, right?
Right. From our perspective, as people who may not be Democrats, may not be ex-Democrats, but you still want to reach out to these people,
Mm-hmm.
that's the way.
Okay.
It could be more straightforward.
Okay, listen, with that, if you have anything else on your mind, let's do it because I'm going to cut a little bit short. I got a lot of work to do still tonight.
All right. I would say that's a good place to just let these words set in. Oh, I know that it's a selection, not election. Believe me, DJ Ricky, if you haven't been involved in in your Republican town committee or any of that other stuff, we'll have that discussion. I can tell you the selection, not election process. Let's work backwards. November is the day of the election. All right. July is when there's a final selection of the candidates. But in May, sometimes there's a formal selection process. That's called when the convention is had. However, before the convention, you have State Central and others talking among themselves in the back room. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's where the candidates get selected. You got two choices. Okay. You got the people that your party puts up, and you got the wannabes, and newbies who suddenly show up from out of nowhere. I wouldn't happen to be suggesting that any such person might be present in this conversation at the moment. Far be it for me to suggest that. But the point is that you have these two groups, these two types that tend to show up, all right? And that's not how it should work, according to DJ Ricky's comment. But it is. So people try to get elected, but you have all these resources that come behind the people who get selected. And it's a hell of a battle every single time. Remember, Corey, you can't blow yourself out of what has been put in place. Oh, yes. However, even now I'm going to contradict myself. Who was the hot candidate? Who was the one that said, this is the one, we're going all the way to the governor's mansion with this candidate? What was her name?
Betsy?
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, yeah.
Yeah, oh. Aaron was the establishment choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how did that work out? And by the way, Connecticut has a history, I'm going to shut up after this, has a history of picking really bad candidates. We had a guy named Schlesman or something many years ago who was running for the Senate, caught up in all kinds of law breaking and fraud and corruption. It was right there on the table, and people are saying, so, you know, the stink in the room was so bad, the Republicans are looking at each other and saying, we're going to support this guy? Well, guess what? You did, and he lost. What a surprise. You know, the woe guy did too, yes. No, you know, to be continued. You got to get your sleep. You got your work done. I'm shutting up, so I'm done.
Okay, well, it's a good show tonight. A little bit brief tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow night, ready to go.
Right.
And for those of you tomorrow night, I'll be out tomorrow night, but I'll be back here on time. So
okay,
I'll get a little shut-eye during the day. So anyway,
okay.
Thanks for coming. Another great
get some rest. Need it.
We're getting better and better, y'all. So